What's up, guys? Before jumping into today's video, round 2 of the G Fuel Madness competition is closing out, and we're still chasing that end goal of an espresso shaker cup. If you want to help make that a reality, and only if you want to, using code espresso helps keep us in the running on orders big or small, starter packs or multi-tub restocks. But code espresso will get you 30% off your entire order the entire time we're in the competition. Truly appreciate the support if you've taken part already, or if you're interested in doing so. We're coming up on the 2-week mark since Modern Warfare's last title update, update 1.15, that kickstarted the refreshes for season 2 and added a map like Bazaar, operators like Mace, and all things in between. But since then, there's been a handful of bugs and problems that have been happening to make their way to the forefront of the game and still have yet to be handled. So with this next 2-week mark coming up, it's quite possible that we do see another refresh to Modern Warfare this upcoming Tuesday that offers up with it another title update, which undoubtedly will bring back-end fixes along as well. So today, as we sit here a few days away with the possibility of that happening, I want to recap with you 19 more changes either confirmed to be coming or likely to be coming in this next update. So with that said, let me know your thoughts. Are there any glaring issues that maybe we didn't cover here in this video that you'd like to see fixed? And as well, do be sure to hit the subscribe button if you haven't done so already to stay up to date with all things Modern Warfare on a daily basis, especially if we do have any larger drops coming in the very near future. We'll keep you posted with all that. But anyways, let's get into the changes. First, let's talk about one that I think is actually kind of weird. If you paid attention to the Uzi and the changes that were made as of the last couple of weeks, you may have noticed that with update 1.15, we did get new attachments for the Uzi, those being the new magazine as well as the new barrel for the weapon. Now, curiously enough though, with the last update that refreshed the game this past Tuesday, we saw some changes to the weapon overall, but it also changed the barrel that was supposed to be new. Instead of what was previously the 16.5-inch factory carbine barrel as the final unlock for the standard barrels, and then followed by the new barrel of the FSS Orion barrel, it was instead listed as 2 FSS Carbine Pro barrels, seemingly replacing the Orion with what was a secondary of the same barrel. And if you broke them down, they were actually identical statistically, except just the only difference was the visual change to it. There's 2 of the same barrel currently available for the Uzi that offer no benefits over one or the other, so naturally this will be something that's fixed out. The FSS Orion will be coming back with the next update that we end up getting. Outside of that, let's talk a little bit about Giant Infection, a mode that was a lot of fun but wasn't around for all that long. It was a fan favorite, I think, for the little bit of time that it was there. I saw a lot of people really enjoying themselves, but it really wasn't around that much. We saw it removed after just one day to modify the XP yield since that was a bit too high, and we talked about that was probably to not boost any numbers through the battle pass. The seasonal XP is something that is lesser cared about in that grand scheme of things, but it was reintroduced on the weekend and then subsequently removed with this last Tuesday and the playlist refresh that happened this week. So players only had it for roughly 4 days or so, but in that time we did see some changes made, of course, to the XP yield, the Mighty Mushroom calling card eligibility, and some bugs that popped up. It was confirmed already that Giant Infection will be coming back. We don't have any definitive answer as to when that will be, but there also is an invincibility spot that will be taken care of as the time of this being reintroduced. Right at the corner border of the east side left street, you could end up actually getting up on top of those edge of map barriers that they actually had some barbed wire coiling that you could go prone in and it would block throwing knives. Now apparently you could actually at a very specific point still throw through and get the players there, but again, you're very limited in what you can do when an enemy is shooting at you. So it's something that will be taken care of, that's been addressed, and is something that will be no longer available to take advantage of once it's reintroduced. Outside of that, let's talk about some other boundary issues. There's currently an issue on Piccadilly where you can get out of the map and get into, again, what is a god spot. Now, normally this doesn't have any effect and really wouldn't help you out in any way, shape, or form, but if you want to stay alive, you want to be the last alive in an infected, you're almost guaranteed to win with this spot, because by the time players get to it, of course, they're about 1 second away from dying to begin with because they're out of bounds, but also it's almost impossible to get a throwing knife back there in this little tucked away corner out of bounds. So that's being addressed and will be something fixed out as well. But let's talk a little bit about some other stuff, not just map exploits that will be fixed. Firstly, let's talk about the fix incoming for the AMOP Reflex. Now, just from watching kill cams, picking up some other weapons around the map randomly, the AMOP Reflex is actually one that seems to be a more popular optic. So you may actually notice this as well, but right now there's a bit of an oddity with how this works. There's 2 models of the AMOP Reflex sight, which one has a riser and one doesn't have a riser, but the problem occurs when the assault rifles use laser attachments with the AMOP Reflex, because the laser will often obstruct the view of the optic's viewpoint. This was mentioned by Ashton Williams, Senior Communications Director at Infinity Ward, and is said to have a fix in the works, so my guess is that we'll be ending up seeing this coming in the next update, but also it's probably just a fix that will see the riser model used when lasers are equipped so that it doesn't cut into the viewpoint of that optic, but that's a change going to be made no less. Next, we'll talk about a little bit of a Claymore bug and a Claymore glitch that seemingly happens at some various specific locations. It doesn't happen all of the time, but it seems like not all of the locations are known just yet, where a Claymore can actually be activated through a larger wall. So that's obviously a big problem. The explosion carries, so you'd be killed, whereas there's a giant surface between you and that explosive. So of course, the triggering and the explosive is something being looked at and should be fixed out by that point with the next update. Another addition coming within the next update seems to be as well another pass for country flag calling cards. Joel Emsley was asked about the Scottish flag and any update on that when we'd see that introduced into the game, and he said that there is another pass in flight to add in more, which should be the next update, so keep an eye out for that one as well. Another thing that I would likely expect to be fixed out within the next update is that of a current Model 680 reload bug, where you can basically have infinite reloads, where it will try and reload but will not load any shells into the 680, so you're kind of just stuck there. I've seen a bunch of clips happen where this is an infected. I don't know if it's exclusive to infected, but once you exhaust your shots, you can't reload any more shells in, so of course that's a big problem. That'll be likely fixed out as well. Then one thing that I've noticed, and I don't know if it's an inadvertent change, it seems like a bug to me because you can still do it on the enemies, but if you open up your leaderboard within Ground War, because there is of course 24 to 32 players, you have to scroll through your leaderboards. Now, you can scroll through your enemies still exactly the same, but ever since 1.15, you can't do that on your actual team. So you could be the top of your leaderboard, or you could just be the top of what you see at the leaderboard, but you wouldn't really know any difference at that point. So that's something I would likely expect to see fixed out as well. And then it's reported also that there's going to be a fix in the works for players who are continuing to get repeat rewards for daily challenges. Of course, that should be offering some unique bonuses, but at the time, it seems like there's some overlap currently. Although that's not the only stuff that was mentioned on the official capacity, there's still some issues that have popped up again that require some further pass-throughs and fixes of stuff we've already explained and talked about here on the channel. So we'll breeze through these, but they should be having fixes incoming relatively soon. That firstly dealing with selecting a field upgrade pro, which will cause a player to use a lethal or a tactical whenever choosing that item. That'll happen randomly. The tack insert in certain locations on Rust will spawn a player in a different location than where they actually inserted that tack insert. Climbing a ladder will sometimes result in pulling out a different pistol than what is actually equipped on your person. Executions near walls and elevated surfaces will get canceled mid-animation. Players can also again cancel that recovery state when sliding. That's been a persisting issue for quite some time now. And then crouched mounting positions will count as a standing mount in HUD elements, and also if there's some back-end tracking that you need to do with that as well. On PC, there is also the current issues with the dev errors 60, 65, 60, 66, and 60, 68. Those should have some fixes coming here in the next update, but there's currently a workaround where you can try and run VRAM under maximum, and or running the game with default settings should fix that out as well. Now, there are a couple of things that I'm hopeful will get fixed out within the next update because they've been mentioned in some capacity as being taken a look at, or they're just issues that really persist as is. Firstly, that being Amped working with the Strela P. One of the benefits of running Amped is not only to have faster weapon swapping, but also faster reload times with rocket launchers. Now, if you are going for rocket launcher challenges, you know this is going to be a pain in the behind as is, but if you've worked with the Strela at all, you know that it doesn't actually help that reload whatsoever. It helps the other ones, but for whatever reason, the Strela P is not receptive to that perk's abilities. This was mentioned that it was being taken a look at, so maybe finally now, after quite some time, we'll see a fix coming for that. Additionally, lighting in Ground War on PC is something that since the last title update has been really bad, but has been an issue that's persisted for quite some time as well, where shaders are all completely busted. There's no shadows in some areas where there definitely should be, there are shadows where there shouldn't be, and so on and so forth. So that should be some stuff getting fixed out as well. And finally, on PC, some PC scope and iron sights have some digital pixel distortion whenever you ADS. And this is a common problem I've seen quite often reported, and hopefully this gets a fix because it has been ongoing for what I've seen a really long time actually. But anyways, that's 19 things here that we again should hopefully see some changes here for in the next title update, and when that may be, my guess is probably actually as early as this Tuesday. It seems like we have a little bit bit more pacing for Season 2 comparative to what we had in Season 1. We kind of exhausted all of our content within the first 2 to maybe 3 weeks of Season 1, but it seems like with Condor Hideout and a couple of other things, like another operator coming at some point as well, we at least have a couple of things where we can space it out every 2 weeks. So I would imagine that this upcoming week is a refresh here for Season 2, and it's something that requires a title update, but we'll have to wait and see if that comes, and also if these changes that we discussed come as well. But that said, let me know your thoughts down there in the comment section down below. Is there any in particular that you guys are looking forward to? Again, anything that I may have missed that you're hoping is fixed out, whatever it is, feel free to let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. But hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure you drop a like down below, and of course, if you are new to the channel, make sure you guys subscribe so you don't miss a single thing regarding all things Modern Warfare, updates, news, information, tips, tricks, all that good stuff we got you covered here on the channel. So if any of that interests you, hit the subscribe button so you don't miss a single thing. If you guys also want to get connected with me outside of YouTube, practically live on both Twitter and Instagram, so if you want to strike up a conversation, ask me a question, whatever it may be, that link is down there in the description below. But all that said, out of the way, thank you guys all so much for watching. Mine has been Espresso. I'll see you guys later. Take care and peace.